Hey everybody, it's Rolly, and I'm coming to you guys again to be able to talk a little bit about our fourth annual Women Inspiring Women Conference, Self Love, I Am Enough, You Are Enough. And that is coming up very quickly. So it's actually literally a week from today when we are going to be starting with the entire conference. So I'm super excited about that. And welcome to my mess. There's my plate. Apparently, I have been eating and all the craziness of everything that's been going on. Pam literally just left, which means that she just finished whatever it is that was going on. So I wanted to be able to jump on and talk a little bit about that self-care, self-love, and self-care. And what's the difference between the two? So if you guys are catching the replay, hashtag replay. And for those of you who are on right now, what do you guys think is the difference between self-love and self-care? So that's my question for tonight. So hello, Francine. So Francine, how would you describe self-love, or how would you describe self-love? So just really curious to know what people's definitions would be of that self-love, self-care. So for those of you who are aware, is that we have the conference that's coming up in the 5th, 6th, and 7th of March. And so that's coming up really fast, really quickly. So starting Monday is already going to be March. Can you believe it's going to be March on Monday? Like, it's insane. But one of the things that the whole conference is about self-love. And so there's been some conversations about, like, okay, well, what's the difference? Like, isn't it the same as, isn't self-care the same as self-love, or isn't self-love the same as self-care? So I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think is the difference between both. So I think it's loving ourselves as we are. So which one is that one, Francine? Which one do you think is that one? So, but the entire conference is about that self-love and about being able to connect. And yeah, so it's going to be an amazing weekend, and it's the same. Okay, so it's the same. I know that Pam and I we're getting all of the chat all the chat things set up for the conference. And so we were getting those things worked on. She's working on the exhibitor pages. Teresa had been working on them, but we kind of pulled her off of those ones so that she can work on some other things. So Pam's taken that one over. And all of the conference pages are going to be ready come Monday. We're going to get to introduce all of our exhibitors. We've been sharing about who our speakers are all along, and we've been doing that for some time. So we have our live speakers, and we have our pre-recorded speakers. So we've got all this fun stuff that's been happening in the back end and getting all those things. And I can't wait to be able to share a little bit more about some of the things that are going on. So if you haven't yet registered, it is definitely a weekend that you do not want to miss. So the cost is $197 Canadian. So for those of you who are not Canadian, then there'll be the exchange rate depending on what that is. And but there is still access to the weekend pass. So you'll actually be able to come and participate with us for the entire weekend and be able to join in the discussions and that kind of thing. So it is definitely still available, and we would love to be able to have you join us. So hi, Alicia, how are you? So so like I said, it's definitely still available, and you definitely want to join us. And inside the description has the link for you to be able to register, and you get to join in all the fun, excitement. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have games. We're going to have there's lots of things that are actually going on. And over the course of the next few days, I'm going to continue to share a little bit more. But today I wanted to talk about the difference between self-love and self-care. So what I like was what Francine has shared so far is I think it's loving ourselves as we are. She said, oh, somebody said it's the same. I'm not sure who said this. It's the same. So it's because you're probably inside one of the Facebook groups and you have to give StreamYard permission. So in the description, I'll have that. So I don't know who that is. But whoever that is, Francine said that it's loving ourselves as we are is part of self-love, and self-care is taking care of ourselves so that we can self-love. Beautiful. So what do you think, Alicia? So I'm going to share the description that I kind of go with self-love. So self-love means that you are loving yourself unconditionally. And that is something that a lot of us struggle with, is that loving ourselves unconditionally. We always have. We always set ourselves into certain standards, and we need to try and achieve certain things in order for us to be able to be whole. And so, but when we actually truly work into that self-love, is that we get to be unconditionally loving ourselves. And self-care is about taking the time to make ourselves feel good. So making ourselves feel good in our skin. So that could be having a bath. It could be reading a book. It could be journaling. It could be going out and getting our nails done. It could be getting our eyebrows done. So thanks, Helen, for getting my brows done. And but so all these different things that you get to be able to do. So the two of them are both necessary in life. So you need to be able to have to be able to love yourself unconditionally. That is extremely important. And then the self-care is also something that we need to do to make ourselves feel better, feel good. Self-care can be making sure that we're getting enough sleep, those kinds of things, right? So like there's a lot of different things around that self-love. And so when I was putting together the conference, and I was talking about this today because I've got the theme for next year, but when I was actually getting that, and I always get this download of like, okay, here's your topic for next year. And so it's like, okay, so this is what I'm doing. And so this year it was self-love. I am enough, you are enough. And the reason is because of those two things connecting together. And so there's that whole part of oneness or enoughness, right? So like not being enough. And so that's one of the things in terms of those conversations that we want to be able to continue to have, is about that. And so I am enough is an affirmation that we've heard countless of times, right? So back in March, so probably around this time last year was when I got okay, this is what our next theme is going to be about the conference, and then putting it out for speakers and having different people coming in and sharing their perspective on what that means is really interesting when you actually have the two things that are actually kind of blending together and having that happen. So it's really exciting for me to be able to see how the women are able to put these things together, right? So it's like, here, okay, here's the theme, and here's the topic, and here's the things that we're actually going to be talking about. And so it's definitely, it really is, it's definitely astounding as to how it is that we want to be able to do this. So who is it that would actually want to be at the conference? Like, so why would this be important? Is that because you are at a phase or at a stage or at a circumstance in your life where you just want to be able to get over to that next hump, right? So like that's what the whole point of it is being able to connect with like-minded women and being able to have that opportunity for us to be able to connect with each other, but also to be able to have that growth. So as we're listening to what the speakers have to share over the course of the weekend, as we connect with the exhibitors, and then as we connect with each other in terms of being guests, is that it allows us to be able to have that that next level of growth that that we actually get to take. And so some people have been on this continual path of growing and have been on this continual path of healing, whereas others are just kind of getting started, or we're at a stagnant point. And so we want to be able to kind of lift ourselves up to that next level. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be doing with the women, and especially now that I've had that opportunity to be able to have more contact with them and having verbal conversations with them over the last week. And because we've had some background conversations happening, but we actually got to have verbal conversations, like face-to-face kind of conversations where we've actually been able to talk more about like what all of this means to them and how excited that they are and all the different things that are actually happening. So I think it's I'm super pumped. So I'm probably going to be on this high for for the rest of the week, just because I am super excited about all the different things that were going on. Earlier in the week, I was on some pretty down lows. I was pretty tired, and certain things were not working the way that I was hoping that they were going to happen. And then, of course, there's life on top of that. So you throw life and all these things that are not happening the way that you're wanting them to happen, and then it just kind of brings you down a little bit in terms of that being exhausted and tired and that kind of thing. So the last 2 days, things have been pretty uplifted because there's all these things that are actually happening the way that they're supposed to, and so I've got more energy, and I'm pretty much more excited. I've also been getting better sleep, so like all these different things really kind of come into play. So I just wanted to jump in, share that, and so. But definitely let us know, like, what is self-love and self-care mean to you? So I've given you my description, but just because I've given you my description doesn't mean that it's the definitive change, because it really is subjective as to what that looks like for you. So I will chat with all of you guys later and have a fabulous evening. And I will come back in again tomorrow sometime to be able to talk a little bit more about something else with respect to the conference. So I will chat with you guys soon, and bye for now.